Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Random Thoughts. I am Miss Speaks, and I'm here with Broadbelt. Welcome back.
Yes, I know.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, we've been taking time off. It's summertime.
Yeah, we've been on vacation.
Of course, summertime encourages and promotes taking time off to enjoy the weather and get away from work.
Yeah.
But we are back. So everyone, hello. As always, we like to make sure we give attention to our well-renowned engineer of the decade,
Yes.
Kurt.
Kurt in the building.
Yes.
I missed you. It's good to see your face.
I was telling him, I was like, man, how long has it been? It was like about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, but time just went by. So, you took some time. I took some time. Then we both took some time.
Yeah.
I know we were thinking 3, maybe 4 weeks. Like it's been.
That's been
definitely been there since June, in the middle of June. And we're in the middle of July, so close to 4 weeks.
It was a good vacation, though.
Definitely needed. I know for me, when I came back, it felt like I took a week, but it felt like I took several weeks. And when I came back, I have a meeting every morning. And in my morning meeting, my team was like, "Oh, you're back from being gone for 2 months."
Oh,
and it was like, I was like, I know it felt like that, and they were like, "That's how it felt for us." Like, because of course, it seems like whenever you take vacation for an extended amount of time, that's when all these questions come out that are directed to you, but you're not around. So now people who can pick up the slack, of course, but no one has as much insight as you do when you're working projects. Because I'm the one on all the calls and doing everything. So they only know my notes that I leave, my status updates that I have and everything. So they can use that to give a high level answer to things, but everything else they're like, "Oh, you got to wait till Martin comes back."
Oh wow! So they waiting on you. Okay.
Yeah. But that's anybody. Everyone on my team are project managers, so all of them, if they go somewhere, I can only give you so much information.
Right.
I can keep the train going, but I'm not. I'm only keeping the train going straight. We're not making no turns or nothing. So, but they were like, "Oh, it's good that you're back." They're like, "Did you see all those emails?" And that's the other thing when you're gone.
Checking your emails.
Kurt can speak to that too. When you're gone and you come back, it's the emails you have to sift through, and it's like
So when you're on vacation, you just you're not checking your email.
I don't.
Okay.
And I'm one where, being that I work from home, I used to go to my work area and check. But one time we had a meeting with our VP, and she said, "When you're off, be off." She was like, because work is going to be here waiting on you when you get back. And it was so simple, but it made so much sense because she was right. Whenever I take time off and I come back to work, it's waiting for me.
Right.
It's not going nowhere. Like the organization's not going to fall apart. They're just going to set my stuff aside and put it on hold until I come back to work it like it needs to be done. And that's what happens. Like it's going to be there. So there's no need for me to be checking email. That's why. So because we have a secure intranet that we use, and we have our Outlook and everything that runs through it. So we have an app that our organization use that you can get so you can view all your emails and everything.
Right.
And I always tell them, until they tell me I have to get it, I'm not getting it. Now, of course, if you get the VP status, you have to have it. You have to be fully engaged at all times. But right now, I'm like, no.
Good for you.
I'm staying away from that. So, I didn't go on my computer once the whole time. Even once I got back and I had a couple of days, I was like, nope. I'm not checking. I wanted to.
Work will be there for you.
Yeah, and I kept thinking it's not going anywhere. Work is going to be there when I get back. So.
And it was.
Yeah. And they were all happy. I'm telling you, it was almost like elation. They was like, "Oh, here you go. Here you go." They was like, "So we can send this.
Back. Here you go.
We can send these questions to Martin, right? Because he's back." I'm like, "Yeah." So.
Curtis telling me your mic is not where it needs to be. Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, we know. That's why you see over here on the man side, no issues at all.
So he's on his whole man macho kick. He's been watching a guy called Kevin Samuels.
Well, it is funny. So I said before we begin into other topics. So again, everyone, this is Random Thoughts. So we jump around.
Yeah.
But me and Speaks talk about things. I agree with some of the things, that he says, but I was telling her in the dating scene, it's funny. Every woman now says, do you listen to Kevin? Like that's like almost one of the parts of the intro conversation you have when you first meet on that first time of seeing each other face to face. They're like, so what do you think about Kevin? What's that? And I'm like, why?
Because it matters to a whole bunch of women. Because a lot of women are not in agreement with him.
Funny. And to me, it's only because there's so much honesty in it. Mm-hmm. So truth is always met. It's always pushback with truth. Mm-hmm. Lies are always accepted easily because they deceive, they manipulate, they cover over what the reality is, and then the truth is where people have to acknowledge and take ownership, and nobody want to do that.
Right.
And it's on both sides of the coin, male and female. But
yeah.
So
I don't watch him. I don't watch him that much, or not at all, really. I just see like snippets of what he's talking about. I don't want to give him that much energy, but at the same time, what he says, it does have some valid truth to it.
But that's anything. So let's just talk about that with truth. Everybody, they say there is no when you're having a conversation with someone, no one is wrong in the conversation because everyone has their own truth from their point of view, their perception. So the lens they're looking through. So there is no right or wrong, but we're so trying to convince the other of our opinion and trying to get them to come over to our side of the street and now see things from our viewpoint instead of just accepting that we both are individuals and we think differently depending on what the topic is.
Right.
And that is okay.
Yeah.
And to accept that is a challenge for a lot of people.
It is.
Where I'm one who enjoy it. I'm happy because I feel like we are not clones. We're supposed to think differently. I look at something and I view it one way. You look at it and you view it a different way. And I have an appreciation for that. While others are like, no, you need to see it the way I see it. And they are determined
to get you to come over to their side. It's just a part of growth for me because I remember wanting to be right when I was younger. But it takes too much energy.
Well, it's a lot. You think, not only that, it causes disputes that lead into fights, lead into war. When you think about religion, that's probably the biggest one where you have one religion who views it one way, and you have another religion who has views, and then another one, and they're all going against each other, or not the religion itself, the people.
It's the people.
That's because we are crazy. So it's the people within the religion that are causing all of the harm to one another. Because they're mad that you don't follow their God or you don't follow their same scripture.
Right. Or they feel like I'm trying to save your soul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and your soul looks crooked. Your soul is not the cleanest, but you trying to save mine. What are we saving
here?
Yes.
And they want you to, come over to their side. But I don't have enough time to want to be right. I understand that everyone has their own opinion, their own perspective, and it's okay. Yeah.
And it is okay. And it should be valued just as that. Everyone has their own opinions and perspective, and let that be. It should just be healthy conversations.
Right. Yeah.
And that's it. Not anything that turns into a debate. Like, just because we have different views doesn't mean it has to be a debate. Because a debate is determining whose view is right. And debates are based on facts. And stats and data and all of that. If you ever gone to a debate with people, and I'm not talking about like presidential debates, because to me that's entertainment. I'm talking about true debates they do in school and stuff, especially in universities, where they're going over. They have a topic, and then everyone is spitting out their views, and then whoever is the most convincing
Never been to one of those. That might be interesting.
They're interesting. They're interesting. It's a lot of it's really a lot of stats, and it's all in the choice of words, the delivery, all of those things play a part in it. And don't get caught up in pausing and stuff, because it's almost like you're not sure of how to respond to the topic and everything, which makes it questionable. So if you're not confident in what you're saying, the way you're delivering it, then how is anyone going to be able to trust what you're saying? And that's all within the the debate and everything.
Well, let's go back to Kevin real quick. because I'm not. It was just I was thinking a thought when we was talking about him of how like some of my girlfriends was talking about him, and they had like such hatred or something for him, and I couldn't understand. Like, you don't even know this dude, and you're like, I can't stand him, and da da da. I was just like, okay, like, but you really don't know him to have that much.
Isn't that how truth is always met? Like, whenever you speak honest, and people identify that is true and honest, but they don't want to accept it. So they fight it. They go against it, and they find justification in why.
I told the girl the reason why she couldn't connect with it is because his delivery is a little bit ratchet. You know, the way he puts it out there, and hasn't.
That's just a way to excuse yourself from accepting.
She hasn't experienced. She has a different type of lifestyle, so she's not out here experiencing other women, or like women that's doing these type of things, or she's not having those conversations with other men that they have these issues with these women, feeling like they have ownership. You know what Kevin talks about. So it's just, I was telling her, you wouldn't be able to understand where he's coming from at all. So you're looking at it as, why is he bashing women, instead of looking at it as, well, that is his experience that he's going through, because she hasn't had an experience by it. So she just couldn't connect. So I told her to go back and listen to it and try, I told her to not put women as the victim, because a lot of people feel like women are the victim. Because
it's nothing but women that come on there to talk.
Right.
And he doesn't go by his experience. He's going by what the feedback from all the men that are speaking. Yeah. And then he uses all of that to create what the topic is to talk about. So this is men out here saying, this is how they feel about women. They're just not saying it to the woman.
Right.
Because
he is the mouthpiece for all the men. But that's what I was telling her. So you can't relate. So you're thinking he's being nasty or whatnot. I was like, his delivery, yes, it's a little bit ratchet. But he's speaking from a point of view of all the men that's giving him that information. So I told her to go back and listen to it.
Yeah. And it's funny because, you and I talk, and I've always been one who's been direct with both men and women. But it's funny, my male friends used to always say to me, yeah, you could talk to him like that because, the whole image look. Oh, you light skin, curly hair, blah, blah, blah. Because I've always been
direct.
Yeah, direct. And not just the fact of being direct, but being honest in what I'm saying. Like, no, you cute, but that's it. And like, what do you mean I'm just cute? I'm like, you're not appealing to me. And I had no issues with saying those things, or like how me and you talk. And I'll say, what is she bringing to the table? Because she big or whatever. And not trying to be mean or attacking, but just speaking to what's visible, what's right in front of me. This is what I see. And then sometimes that, like I said, it's, we just talked about this the other day. Just because you can lay on your back and spread your legs,
don't mean
that is not a gift.
Yeah,
that is not a gift. Yeah. That doesn't make you special because you can do that. A man can find that anywhere. The same way a woman can find a man, and for what they want. It's not nothing special in that. Right. It's the individual. It's the character, their characteristics, their demeanor, who they are. It's always like my mother used to always say, you have to be as beautiful on the inside as you present yourself on the outside. Yeah. And a lot of that is missing for people. They have this representation of themselves or this false depiction, as I'll put it, that they show physically that makes them appear. It's almost like a book cover. You know, I remember being little, and we always had, and I don't even know if they still do this, but, you know, they will always have...
the book fair?
Yeah, in the library.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if schools have libraries anymore.
Yeah,
but,
they do.
Okay. We would be in the library.
He's a dinosaur.
And, you know, always the books, they were so shiny.
Mm-hmm.
And
make you want to pick it.
Yeah, you wanted it. And then you read through it like, oh, this is not nothing at all.
Yeah.
But and they were always the ones everybody was buying, especially when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get caught up in that. But it's the same thing with both men and women. You know, you present yourself a certain way. Mm-hmm. You know, you're in good shape. You know, like I talked to you. You know, for men, once they figure out what's the haircut that looks best on them, and then they start working out. They figure out what they should eat. And now, on top of that, they have a job where they're making more than average as far as money goes, a salary. So now they get to wear certain clothes that fit their frame better. So all of this are attributes. And now they get to present themselves a certain way, but they still that shitty person that they were, because they haven't worked on themselves mentally and emotionally. They just worked on the outside exterior, which is easy. That's the easy thing. It's the mental that's
very difficult to work on.
Yeah, because that's when you got to be honest. You know, we talk about you got to peel back those layers and admit to yourself who you are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't nobody want to do that.
Yeah.
So they live in, like I call it, they live in life of a stranger. They don't know who they are.
They don't know who they are.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, enough about Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, but no. But let's talk about, we had it for everyone. We talked about this on a show. But
we didn't air it.
We wanted to come back to it and really get into it more. And we were discussing the having a baby. Having a child. And should there be some type of criteria or standard or requirements that need to be met for the man and the woman before having a child? The same way you can't just go out and buy a car.
Right.
You can't just go out and get a house.
Yeah.
You can't even adopt a child without meeting certain standards and requirements and fulfilling whatever it is, the criteria is that you have to meet. And then they still put you through an interview process and all these other things. You know, when you're trying to buy a house and stuff, they want to see your pay stubs. They want to do a credit check. They want to do all these
tax returns.
All of that. But to have a child, there's
you don't need nothing.
And the child comes into situations that are not always the best. Now, granted, you can't ever make the ideal home. That's just not that's just, to me, that's not the reality of things, because human beings are emotional and one day is better than the next. So that's just part of his up and down. But you can at least plan for it to be somewhat reasonable.
Yes.
I would say, and I say that to say, because you have people with mental issues, you have people with addictions, meaning drug, but it could be drug, it could be alcohol, it could be so many things that they're addicted to that's going to affect how they are with the child. And the child has no say in it, because a baby is solely independent on that adult.
On the parents.
On the parents. And that's if the parents even stay together at that point. So
there should be some type of credit check of being human.
Yeah. Or just,
like, are you a good human? Can you raise another human?
And the question comes up is, does that infringe on people's rights and their freedom to have a child? Or is that just us as a civilization improving and getting better and understanding that maybe we should look into that more and put some type of checklist or something together? And again, people, we just throwing it out there just for conversation.
Just
something we were thinking about.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things where you said, what you think?
I mean, because I feel like we wouldn't be infringing on their rights if we do it in a proper way, if it's done in a proper way. You know, if it's like, you're in high school and you start learning about what it is to be a parent and and then you kind of, and we talked about this last time, is educating all the humans.
I feel like education is the key to me. That's the base, that's the foundation.
Right. It's just education. How to actually do it, like how to
and it's only because it's not the norm.
Yeah.
So we're used to just having babies when we want to have babies. Yeah. Or not even thinking about having a child, and all of a sudden, oh, she's pregnant because I didn't wear protection.
Like, who has a planned pregnancy? I had one friend that did. Yeah.
It's happening.
Her last child she planned. The other two
you find it, and as you get older, I would say late 20s and early 30s, those couples are planning to have a child. In the late teens and early 20s, usually those age groups, that demographic, are not planning on having a child. They're just enjoying the physical.
And then you just get the results.
You're like, oh, shit.
This is used to make humans, so here you go.
Now you're having a child.
Hope you can take care of it for 18 years.
I know. 18 years. And just to say this, back in 2004, 2005, the average child from birth to high school, healthy child, so no medical issues or nothing, cost on average $800,000, $800,000+. That's without going to college. That's without having any medical issues.
I believe that.
And everything. Now it's probably $1.5, $2 million with the inflation, just everything going up. And now you put them through college, or you have one that has some medical issues that you have to pay for. All of that stuff. Now you talking like it's like we could be millionaires out here.
I know.
If I didn't have a child, I could be a multi-millionaire.
I'm thinking about it. It is a lot of money, but at least we're good parents. I should say. I think we are.
I guess it's who you ask. If you ask the child,
they might say something different. Oh gosh, I just had this conversation today about my parenting because my kids are with their dad in LA. And so my oldest he was feeling a certain type of way. And his dad had a conversation with him. And so I had a conversation with his dad, not Sir. And he was I'm just prepping you of the conversation we had, about parenting. And Sir has mentioned that I'm on the go a lot, because I'm just like making stuff work out or whatnot. And so but it was other factors in how he was feeling emotionally as well. And so then I had to think about what my next steps are going to be that would be kind of different to make him feel like and he's coming because he's used to a 2-parent home. Noah's fine. Like I was like, well, did you talk to Noah? And he's like, Noah is great, but he's younger, so his adjusting is totally different. But with Sir, his adjusting, he had kept a lot of things inside, and and so I consciously I'm like, okay, what can I do differently to make him feel like I'm around more, so now I'm just looking at things a little bit different. But that was from him, so I
think the conversation too is him getting the understanding of now that it's not a 2-parent house, that you're going to be gone more because you have to do more to maintain a lifestyle for your children.
Right,
So that's just and that goes back to the education part.
To let him know.
The understanding, and and it's not being selfish by I'm speaking for you right now. It's him having understanding that you're not being selfish by being gone when he's just you being there more.
Yes.
Is that you're being gone is to support him and the younger brother.
And provide.
And provide.
And then I had to look at that too, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I was always there. I was home. I picked him up from school, took him to school. I'm always home. I'm on all of the field trips, and so
when the man is in the house, we take care of stuff. That's what we do.
What happened? What happened? Kurt, what is happening? No more Kevin for you. Next week, no more Kevin.
You wouldn't have running water. You wouldn't have paved streets.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I don't care, about. Thank you for all that you contribute, and I would stay in my lane and keep giving, life to the planet. I mean,
it's like that's something.
Yeah, like that does matter. Like, but so. The conversation of parenting, everyone has to kind of take a step back and just look at their parenting style and what they can do better. I think that's just a part of,
it is. I always say there's no blueprint to it. So every parent was a child at one point. And when you become a parent, you make adjustments to how you were parented.
Right.
So the way your mother and father raised you, we all find things in it that we didn't like. But no parent, there is no book that says this is how you go about doing it. Everyone is doing the best they can, and they're doing it based off of their experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to me, a child doesn't realize that until they become an adult, especially once they have a child themselves. But when you become an adult, then you start realizing like, oh shit, it's not as easy as I thought. Like every child wants to be an adult, and then then every adult tries to be younger.
I know, right?
Because it's the living. Being adult is now you're responsible for things. Like you have rent, you have utilities, you have a car payment, you have to eat.
Yeah, you gotta eat.
You want to go out. You can't go and ask your mother and father for money. You're 35 years old. I mean, some do. But
some
the
do.
responsible ones that haven't, and I'm talking about those that haven't run into no hard times or whatever, you take care of yourself. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And as a child, a child is looking at the freedom.
Right.
Of being an adult. I can come and go as I want. I can leave the house dirty. I don't have to wash the dishes. I don't have to clean my room. Like they're looking at it from a child's point of view. And again, that's where going back earlier when we was talking about there is no right or wrong in either perspective because the child is looking at through it from their lens, which is only what they've experienced up to that point. So only thing they know is they have to clean their room. They have to clean the kitchen. They have to do this. They have a curfew. Those are all things they want to overcome.
Right.
And the only way they can overcome those things is to be an adult. And then as an adult, you're looking at it from a different lens. You're like, oh, sometimes you just want a break. Yeah. Sometimes, you don't want to have to worry about, not worry, but not be responsible and take care of this and take care of that.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's like, you know what, F working.
Yeah.
But if you don't work,
you don't have
no income coming
finances,
in. Finances, And then where you going to live?
Yeah. It's just like, what am I going to do?
So, how you going to eat? How you gonna do?
So I was thinking, do they have birth control for men? Like that they could... You guys take or
no? As far as I can't think.
Because maybe like the responsibility. I think
it's on us.
On the woman too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the responsibility needs to be
or shared. It needs to be a shared responsibility. So both the man and the woman is popping a pill or getting a shot. Or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would help. If they take it. But then I do know men that they want to get a certain girl pregnant, so they'll be in their lives forever. It's funny because I think that fits on both sides. You have men, and you're right. You have men who get women pregnant so they can lock them down and hold on to them because they're like, oh, I'm not gonna let her go. She's not going nowhere. Right.
And you have women who are trying to hold on to a man, and they think, oh, if I have this child, he's gonna stay with me. And now, but to me, in both cases, you're bringing in a child into the world under not a loving. Environment. Not to say that both parents wouldn't love the child, but you're not doing it with the intentions of having a child. As far as being genuine,
you've been selfish.
This is what we want together. We want to have a child. No, you're doing it with these intentions for yourself. Right. It has nothing to do with the child. Right. The child is just a product, a result, an outcome of your decision that you made that the other person not even aware of. And that's the thing. Like when you're having a child, that should be a conversation between both people. Yeah. And it should be agreed, are we going to do this? But then, that's where we talked about, should there be because I'm like, if we make it into a standard, something that has to be followed, where there's criteria has to be met, and maybe it's a certain age, should it be against the law to have a child before you're at least 27? Because that's when the brain is fully developed to make. I mean,
that makes
decisions.
sense for me, though.
So
27 is a good age because
you've lived, you've experienced life to an extent to where you have a better understanding of the world than when you're young.
You have responsibilities. Your experience is at a different level than when you're in your early 20s.
But the thing is, how do you monitor that? Like, how do you make sure people are not have it like that? That's where the education comes into place. But then I'm thinking like you have to almost sterilize people. And
they've done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When?
Certain communities, it was a whole lawsuit in Winston-Salem. They were sterilizing individuals in the Black community, women in the black community. You need to we should research that because it's a good topic. Yeah. And it was a lawsuit.
I know in the military, when you're in boot camp, they give you stuff so you don't get erections and stuff.
Oh.
Like, I remember, you always hear the rumors, but when I was in boot camp, when I was in the military, we were all talking like a month in, and we were like, man, and maybe this is too much information. It shouldn't be.
Yeah,
everyone should know.
Random thoughts.
But men have erections throughout the night, and you usually wake up with an erection. And it's like none of us is having erections. We were talking. It's like, man, are you hard when you wake up? And everybody's like, nah. No, it was like, man, they putting stuff in our food. Like we know, but you always had the rumors that they did that because.
Do you know for a fact, or
I don't know for a fact. It's still just a rumor, but it was one of those things where they wanted you to have a clear mind and only be thinking about the training and what you was learning. It's the same way where in the military they strip you down from thinking as an individual. They want you to think as a team,
right?
Because you operate as a group. You don't operate as an individual. If you start operating as an individual, you end up hurting the team because now you're not thinking about your impact on them. You're doing things just for you, and that's not the goal.
Right.
It's like you need to think as a team. So that's how they build you. So they strip you down from thinking as one, as singular.
Yeah, well, I know they have these great birth control shots, and they last for like 3 months. You get a shot. It's called a Depo shot.
Yeah.
So they have things for women, but they're not taking it. They're not.
Well, isn't it? So I know women. I know they always say the side effects, the way they body.
Yeah, it's gonna be an reaction. Issue. Yeah, because I lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. So why can't at this day and age, Western medicine come up with something that it doesn't affect you? But is that even possible? Because anything that's changing, because it's making your body think. Isn't that what it's doing? Is making your body think that it's pregnant.
Right. They got some herbs that you can actually take to make your body think that it's pregnant.
That's more Eastern. That's more of a
It's a lot of natural remedies. Yeah. Even to miscarry, you could eat certain things.
Yeah, I always heard castor oil.
Right.
Or does castor oil make the baby come?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
And that's just because you're like, you have to use the bathroom.
So you're pushing. Yeah. Because I know every woman say they thinking they have to defecate when they're pushing out a baby.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what it feels like. Yeah. You're having a bowel movement.
Yeah, it's about the same. Some people actually do.
I've heard that. Yeah, all that's coming out.
I mean,
the baby feces.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience, but
you had to lie.
No, I just didn't. You ain't got to lie. No, I didn't have that experience, but I think a lot of my friends that did, they had the epidural shot, so they couldn't feel. they knew to push. So just imagine you're just pushing with no feeling. They just telling you to push. So your body, you're pushing. So you're going to be pushing out everything. Yeah. But if you don't have the medicine, you can actually feel it's a difference. You can feel where it's coming from. You could direct it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can feel where it's coming from. And I think that's the only reason why I didn't take a dump. Yeah. I don't know. But if women was educated, even on having babies, I think they would
make them more. Because
I got so scared, and I'm what 24, 25, and just learning about it because I would ask a lot of questions, and then I would go home and research because I didn't know until I got pregnant, and like in the midst of me already carrying, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta experience that. So
does it have to do with the fact of having sex? So you don't know what you're missing out on until you experience it. So
that's right.
Kids are having sex younger and younger each generation. So if no one was having sex until they finished college or until they were sophomores in college, would that lower the rate? Because you're older, you're a little bit more wiser. And, you know, to me, there's no such thing as wiser, but you've experienced life.
Right.
So you have a better understanding.
There's no such thing as wiser.
Yeah. To me, it's not. To me, there's no... Wise to me just means you've experienced things. Because when you speak to stuff, you speak to what you experience. And if you were intelligent, when you made a mistake and when you went through something, you took time to identify why you ended up in the situation you was in, so you can learn from it, so you don't repeat it. Or you don't, you might still do something similar, but it's not the same,
right? Because
you've made adjustments based on it. So to me, it's just experiences in life, paying attention to the life that you're living. But yeah, so if people were not having sex early, then they wouldn't know what they were missing. So and I say that to say, it's all about the feeling. So people don't want to do protection because of the feeling.
Right.
Both men and women.
Right.
Women are like, they don't like how it feels.
Right.
Men say they don't like how it feels. Well, if you don't know what it feels like,
right,
then it wouldn't even matter. And so maybe maybe that's the remedy. Maybe you put an age, the same way we have an age on drinking, an age on driving, an age on going into certain establishment, an age on buying certain things. I think that's reasonable
to have an age.
That way it's not infringing on your freedom to have a child.
Right.
It's just saying, oh, you know what, we don't think individuals are of a mindset to experience sex until they are 18.
I wonder if any other country have done or implemented something like this, like you have to be a certain age before you have intercourse, or you have to be a certain age before you have children. It's gotta be some people out here that's done it, but I don't know. I think it would just be a better society if we did. I wouldn't have to be a social worker at a school. You know, that job would not be needed.
Yeah, it would be so. To me, it would be so much. It would be so different. But again, we don't know how it would actually run its course or actually be until you implement it and see how it is. Because of course, with anything that's new, it's trial and error in the beginning. So you're like,
I don't know how, because
the age thing might be.
But now I'm thinking about like everyone that was a virgin going into college, and then they kind of got buck wild.
Yeah.
So it's just like it might have a reverse effect.
Yeah, but were they buck wild because they were the only virgins and everyone else was experienced? So you get to college, you have freedom, and everyone is trying to get with you because they know what it feels like. They've already done. I don't know. It's one of the things that has to be research and determined to see. I just know when I came through high school, I was one of the last of my friends to have sex. They were all having sex at 13, 14.
Yeah.
You know, I was considered an old man by being 16. They were like, what you? They used to be like, take the safety seal off.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You know, men are cruel. They're like, man, why you get the safety seal on there still?
I know. Well, I mean, women are too, because it was just like every summer. That's when the girls would have the conversations, and it was like, Tiffany, you still a virgin?
Hot girl summer.
Tiffany, you still a virgin? Yeah. So I was like, yeah. But I planned when I was ready.
Right.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
I know.
13.
I'm just playing. I'm playing, everyone.
But I waited. I was the one that was like last one, and I was proud of me being the last one. I didn't need to be like all y'all. Yeah. But I was thinking that, but I didn't say it. He said,
all these hoes.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, but it's something to think about, because we definitely had to figure out a way to better populate the world from country to country without it just being something anyone. To me, it's such a gift that it shouldn't be taken lightly. And I think we take it lightly because
we're not educated. That's why we take it lightly.
But it's so easy. It's so easy to do.
Yeah, it is.
I remember I didn't know that once a woman had a period, she could have a child.
Yeah.
So it made me think about how some women are extremely young when they have their period. 10, 11, 12. Now all of a sudden, if she was to have sex, she could have a child at that young age. Yeah. And you see 12 and 13-year-olds. I don't know of anyone younger than that, but I've seen 12 and 13-year-olds having children. Yeah. And you like, wow.
Yeah, and I don't know if the household, we made it a big deal in my household. Once you got your cycle, we went out to eat, we celebrate womanhood. So we knew exactly what was happening with our bodies. So it was just like we understood that you can have a child at this point. And I don't think a lot of mothers actually take the time out to sit their child down and say, hey, you're on your cycle. This means this. This means that. It's just like, here, put this on. Like a lot of my friends say that. It was just like, they just gave me something to put on.
Taught. Like even in high school, when we went through sex education, that never came up. Once a woman has her period, that now she can have
egg is ready.
Yeah, they focused on STDs. That's what we talked about.
You're right.
That's all we talked about in sex education. And it was only it wasn't even for a whole semester.
Right.
That we did it. I don't even know if it was a half semester. It was like 3 or 4 classes. And then we switched. Yeah. To whatever the class was supposed to be about. But they started off like the first 3 or 4 classes was sex education. And that's all it was, just STDs. It was like a scare tactic. Don't have sex because you can get a disease.
And it don't work.
It don't. Kids are rebellious by nature.
I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it.
By nature.
Yes. So. I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been better if they could scare you into not having sex because you're going to get pregnant. I know a lot of women that worked for them. Yeah. Because their parents like, you have a baby, you get pregnant. If the first time you have sex, you're going to get pregnant. Yeah.
That first time, everyone gets pregnant. The first time.
Yeah. So it kept them from having sex because they really thought that they would get pregnant. Yeah.
Well, it's even, I know like, over here, you can't drink till you're 21, but then you have like other countries where it's 16.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and because of that, the kids don't drink as much as we do here.
Oh, because they're used to it.
Right. Because they started drinking younger, so it's not a big thing. It's like whatever. But because we can't drink, we want to drink.
Right, yeah.
And we see it as like an achievement to be able to sneak and get a drink. Like I remember being able to go into the store and buy beer and not get carded.
That really? You was looking like you was 21?
No, I wasn't looking like I was 21. But there's always certain stores who would let you buy certain things. Okay. You always had that, as we call it, the cool store.
Oh,
I let you come in.
5 points.
Yeah. You called it out.
Yes. Everybody used to go to
it was a place next to a college that we would go to. And I guess because it was right next to a college, everyone looked young. Even though people were 21, they still look, young. So they just, whatever. And depending on who was working, pretty much everyone who worked there didn't card. Mm-hmm. But you had to be confident. You had to just walk up, put it down, and then be like, how much? Okay.
Confidence goes so far.
And not even think. But if you sit there and you fumbling, and they staring at you, they're like, let me see some ID. And you
look guilty.
Yeah, and you like, I forgot it. They're like, okay. Because they know. That's the thing. It's like they know what's going on.
Because they was young too once. Yeah.
So it's like, what are we doing by not allowing it? Especially when in a lot of households, parents allow their kids to drink and not drink extensively, but have a drink here and there, especially when there's a celebration going on with the family.
Right.
Everyone usually has a little drink with some wine. I mean, my mother always did that with us. I'm 13 and we all having a glass of wine. And I didn't like it, but it was just the fact that
you was drinking.
Right.
So I'm going to drink it.
Yeah, pour me some. And then I want some more. Like, no, that's enough. I'm like, oh. So then you try to sip on everybody's glass when they're not looking.
Sounds like an alcoholic.
Yeah. What? I heard you.
Drink it out of everybody drink.
14. Look. But yeah, so controlling how we populate the earth, but not infringing on people's rights and freedom, because that's going to be the first thing that comes out. But it has to be a conversation, because I know people have to have an understanding of the fact that there's so many kids being born that do not need to be born. So if we had something in place, and I'm not saying it would prevent all of it, but it would help minimize some of the births.
Yeah, I guess you could say need to be born. It's just maybe we need that person, to be here on the planet, but we need them not to be born in that particular family because they ain't got their shit together.
Or maybe this. I just thought about this as you was talking. Maybe we have it set up to where before you have a child, you have to do a consultation with someone. You have a sit down with, like a childbearing therapist.
We do. They got that.
And they tell you, but before you even have a child.
Okay. So after you get pregnant, they have somebody.
I know they do it then. But before, when you're like, we're starting to have sex and we thinking about it, and they have a discussion with you. And they go through, all the ups and downs of having a child, the expenses of having a child, and all of those things to give you more insight into it. Yeah. And not just having someone that you can boss around and clean your room.
Teach this at home ec.
And this and that.
You know home ec class?
I never took home ec.
Oh, well, it used to be mandatory when I was in 6th grade. Like every 6th grader had to take.
Is that when they walked around with the egg?
Well, that's a parenting class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's different. But
home ec is the cooking.
Cooking, sewing. It's just like,
women's stuff.
No, I mean, it's everybody's stuff. Trey, broad belt, whatever. He gonna catch these hands in a minute, y'all.
Men, we build, okay?
That's the second time he's mentioned that. But yeah, it's good that you're so proud to be a man. I'm glad, because you keep saying it. So I don't have to showcase my abilities of being a woman because
we kill the food. And we bring it back to the table.
I wish that was still happening, killing the food. I think I was just talking about that crazy the other day. It's if we killed our food, I think it would be less people eating meat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because a lot of people think it's all like, I was talking to the kids in the film camp about that, because I told you the 2 African kids that they still kill their foods. They kill the goat, they eat snake, and they do chickens. The chickens are out back at their house.
Well, we're not built to be carnivores or to eat meat. Our system's not set up for that. That's why we have to cook our food.
Mm-hmm.
We're animals. Like we don't have we don't have the teeth, we don't have the infrastructure. We're not built to ingest raw meat, so we have to cook it. Mm-hmm. And when you're cooking meat, you're destroying the nutrients
in the meat. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, but that's the only way we can consume it, and we can eat it, and we can actually bite into it, because our teeth doesn't rip through meat like that, like other animals.
It'd be too fleshy, it's
like real chew. You would just be chewing and chewing. You would never tear through it at all. Our teeth. That's why it's even biting into somebody is difficult. But yeah, it's we're not built for that. So we have to cook our meat so we can ingest it.
Yeah.
If not, then we get sick. And all
just having
stuff.
that conversation with them about the meat. Yeah. And the kids
we're
just
plant eaters, plant and fruit eaters by nature.
I guess so.
But meat, once we discovered fire and all of those things.
And it just be so good.
I'm trying to think I always think about it, and I haven't done the research, everyone, so I'm just talking out loud. But I always felt like man saw animals eating other animals and was like,
wonder how that tastes.
Yeah. And tried it.
And it didn't taste good. Right. And so then they had to.
Yeah, they kept playing around with it and figuring out ways to cook it.
You know what I always wondered?
What?
Who was the first person that said, I'm going to taste that milk from that cow?
Yeah, I know all of that stuff. Yeah.
Because I just think it's so odd because the women would have milk, so why did you want to taste the milk from the cow?
Who was the first one to take a honeycomb and be like, oh, let me lick this. Let me taste it. Yes. Like all those things.
It's the smell with the honeycomb, though. Because as a child, I used to suck on all those honeycombs.
Watch how you say it.
I'm just sucking on all the honeycombs.
Your choice of words is always.
Oh, that smells great.
Yeah. But even when mushrooms, plants that that just look like leaves. When you talk about cabbage, green, collard green, all of it, they just look like spinach. It just looks regular leaves or grass or whatever. However you want to look at it, just plant life. Who was like, oh, let me try this. Let me chew on this. Let me see what this is. The same thing with mushrooms, the ones that'll kill you.
So some people had to eat it and be like, it died.
Yeah, so who were, it's like, I saw something where they were like, we had to give props to those early people who took one for the team.
Right.
That tasted, those early tasters.
Yes.
Who ended up dying. And we know, can't eat that.
Can't eat that. Yeah. Or did they pay attention to the animals? Because the animals would let you know what to eat and what not to eat.
I don't know if we were that intelligent back then to pay attention to the animals.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we was intelligent and then we got dumb. I don't know why. That's just how it works in my mind. It's like we got so much, that we end up being dumb.
Yeah.
But at first, when we was with nature, you had to pay attention. You had to.
So I'd say that, we were way more connected.
Right.
And we did, because that was part of that. That was like our school. The environment, which included animals.
Right, because we used stuff to heal. Like we was using plants to heal. We didn't have a pharmacy,
And if you see an animal sniffing around and they go away from that,
then
and they chew over it, they eat this grass.
Not to eat that.
Okay.
Then you see that animal eat that mushroom and then start laying down and you're like, well, what is he feeling like?
Exactly. I want to feel like that.
I want to feel like that. They got a psychedelic. You seeing colors and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think we got dumber as we started building and.
Well, as we advance, we also we lose things as we gain as well, because our advancements pull us away from nature, and our advancements are taking over nature.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, before we go, I have to talk about our homeless people. They asking for Cash App nowadays. Have you had one ask you, do you have Cash App?
No.
Yes. Okay, so
they have phones.
Yes.
But you're homeless.
It's so.
Well, I guess you got to communicate with.
So
someone.
I've had somebody ask me before, "What do you have?" I was like, "I don't have any cash on me," and then they say, "Do you have Cash App?"
But so they have a bank account.
Apparently they they do if they asking for Cash App, but it's crazy. And so it was okay. So I ran into my old student. He is special needs, and he was my student at GTCC, and he's homeless now. Yeah. So he sees me, and when he comes up to me, I mean, I'm just smelling alcohol, you know, and I'm just like, hey, how are you? And then, you know, I'm still polite. And he was like, yeah, do you have a couple of dollars? And I was like, no, I don't have any cash on me. And he was like, well, I have Cash App. And I was like, what do you need the money for? And he was like, I'm checking in a hotel, and I got some of the money, and I need like $40 more I got 40 to get the room. And then I was like, okay, I tell you what, go back to the hotel room and give the person the money you have, and then contact me, and I'll Cash App you the money. I was really willing to do that. Yeah. And so I didn't hear from him that day, but the next day he contacted me through text and was like, hey, I got the room, and I just need some reimbursement so I can, you know, have money throughout the day. And I was like, cool, just send me a picture of the receipt.
Yeah.
So it took him a while to respond, but he responded with a picture of the receipt, right? Of a receipt. And I zoomed in on the receipt, and it was like May 11th. You know, it was like he done went in the trash can, found the receipt.
That's what took a lot.
That's what he was going through. Yeah.
Trying to find a receipt.
And I put LOL, nice try, but no, you can't get $40. Yeah. And then I had to, of course, block him. Yeah. But I was willing to, if he was like truthful, I'll be willing to help you. Yeah.
Some but that's the thing now. Some are really down on their luck, or something, you know, occurred that was not, you know, foreseen, and they found themselves in this situation. And then you have others who realize, like, that's why we're a capitalist country. In this country, you can make money any kind of way. Mm-hmm. Any kind of way, whether it's on the back of others or whatever, it doesn't matter. There's always a way to make money here, and it's funny, whether it's begging, being on a corner, which I don't know if everyone understands, but they have to get
license,
right? Like they had to go to City Hall,
right,
or down to the magistrate office and get $20, $40 they have to pay to be able to stand on the corner.
Right.
And
they do that.
Right. So they do all of those things. Like it's a business.
Yeah. But I want to say about bank accounts with special needs, if there's special needs, they have a bank account because they get a check every month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the disability.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's a lot of them out there. Yeah. Yeah. A lot. And it'd be so sad because I see my students all the time, the special needs community. Because they don't want to be up under anybody's care anymore because they think they're grown and they could do it themselves. But it doesn't work out, never work out.
And to me, a clear indication that they were being honest with themselves. You're not grown if you're being supported by the state.
Oh, yeah, but they don't have that capacity of thinking. Yeah.
You know, so it's...
Because they like, that's my money, you know.
Yeah, it's not. I'm paying you. My tax money, my tax dollars. Putting money in your pocket.
Cash App is a thing now with the homeless pop, and it's a lot more homeless people.
It's growing. It's growing. But any population, as it increases, homelessness increases, as well as crime and everything. Like everything increases. Yeah. When the population goes up, so. Because the smaller the population, the easier you can control things. You know, so if it's only 10 people and one person is acting up, then you can isolate that easily.
Right.
But when you got millions, that's when you need police and everything else.
I don't want to be around it. Oh, speaking of that, when I went to Vegas and I learned that I just don't like large crowds. Like it was overwhelming. It was too much sensory, you know. Yeah. I was just like, this is not for me. And then when I got back, I didn't want to do people. You know what I'm saying?
You needed a break.
Yeah.
You needed to just be to yourself or small groups.
Yeah. And so a couple of times I've been invited to places and I just don't want to I'm like, if it's empty, I'll go. Like, I really just don't want to do people.
Yeah.
It was
a lot of people who come out of prison are like that. They don't like the crowd. Mainly, too, they're used to being isolated, but also, too, they're used to always watching for themselves.
Yeah.
So I know people who came out, especially people who've done years, like 5+ years. They always operate and move a certain way, and they don't care to be out in large. Like, they'll come out and they're like, all right, man, I need to go.
Yeah.
Like, after probably an hour, they're like, all right, I need to go.
That's
they
enough.
start to get a certain way, like almost to where they're about to fight somebody.
Yeah.
It's like this feeling comes over and like anxiety or whatever.
Yeah, it might be a little bit. Well, for me, it wasn't. It's just weird. I guess it's just I'm still trying to figure it out.
It's like security. Like, they don't feel secure in that large setting because they feel like anything can happen.
Yeah.
So because of that, but it's because they've come out of that type of environment where anything could happen and did happen. So it was always what they call, you always have to be on point where things are at. So.
I think I maybe just enjoy peace a little bit more.
Serenity is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't know that I liked peace that much until I went to Vegas.
Yeah.
And then I realized how much I enjoyed just peace. And then now when I came back, I went to the beach, and that was peaceful too, being out on the beach. And I'm really like, okay, yeah, this is my thing. Like, I just like peace.
The sound of the ocean.
Yeah. And then so last night I went to a comedy show. And
was it good?
It was good. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I had some chuckles and, but then I didn't make it through the whole show. I ended up going to the back patio where it was hardly nobody out there because I just needed to be by myself, like peaceful. And it felt good. So it's like, I get moments of being around people and I enjoy it. And then I have to remove myself. And I'm noticing, I'm just being aware of how I'm moving.
Yeah. I'm all about my peace and time.
Well, yeah, but you've been doing that since a baby, This is all new for me.
But people thought I was crazy when I was young.
I
can understand. With that little kid
He just want to be by himself all the time. You're like, this world is crazy. I just want to be by myself.
Yeah. My mother's like, I don't know where you get that from. She used to always say that to me. I don't know where you get that from.
Yeah. I'm learning that I do like peace, but no, when I was on 3 acres of land in the country, I did enjoy that time. And I remember just walking and just around the land, and I really enjoyed it. But it's so funny how when you move into another area, apartment building, you get used to that too. So I forgot. I kind of like it's out of sight, out of mind type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And so now I'm like appreciating. I'm like, yes, that's what you like, Tiffany. That's where you're at your best. You like to think. You like to write. It's like all of these things you love to do, but at the same time, you have learned to kind of conform to the hustle and bustle and all of that.
Well, you're good at adjusting.
Yeah.
Whereas some people are not. So, but that's an advantage for you. That's a plus.
The adjustment.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
To be able to adjust.
But you get a certain age, like, cause I'm 40 and stuff. So I'm like, do I have to adjust if I don't want to adjust no more? You know,
you don't.
You don't really have to adjust. You can create your own spaces and your own thing.
But I think that's the thing that comes with as you get older and you start to gain an understanding of who you are.
Yeah.
When you're younger, it's so much more about being a part of groups. The entertaining that goes on by being in these groups, and that's a satisfaction within itself. And there's an appeal to it. Then you start to get older, and those things, you still dabble in them here and there, but now it's like you said, the peace of mind is priceless.
Yeah.
And you start to realize that, and you learn that. I think we get to a point for a lot of us where it's about that positive energy and putting yourselves in environments that benefit you. that are beneficial.
I like the way you put that.
To the life you're living, and so you operate differently as you get older. But when you're young, it's all about, but it makes sense because when you're young, you haven't experienced life yet.
Right.
So you're still exploring, just like a child, you know, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, once they learn how to walk, you know, they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. They're touching everything. They tasting everything. They're pushing, grabbing, pulling, knocking things over. They're exploring. So it's almost like as you going through the years, you're just exploring.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you like, okay, you've learned how to navigate the world. You know how to maneuver and you figured out what works best for you, even though hopefully you're still growing and learning, but you have enough, you know, tools on your belt to now operate at your maximum. So
I like the way you put it. Yeah, so exploring, that's exactly what happened. It's like I did all the exploring and now I'm at a stage. I've been trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, yo, like that, you're different. Like it's a different field that I'm going through. Mm-hmm. So, but I guess since I haven't experienced it before, that's why I'm just like, what the hell? You know, I used to like this, but now I don't. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay because at first I'm just like, girl, get it together. Like, you know, go. But no, I'd rather not go. And I like this space that I'm in because I am growing and I'm just learning to be okay with the transformation. You know?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I'm okay with it instead of being not scared of it, but just like, what are you doing? Like, this is what you used to doing. Now I'm just like, okay, you might have been used to doing it, but now see what you like now. Mm-hmm. See what's going on with you now. So yeah, I told that Vegas trip was, and you know, I met with the shaman when I was in Vegas. Right. So it was all of that. I'm like, how would we do a spiritual retreat in Vegas? Yeah. But it was great because he was like, if you could find peace in the middle of chaos, then you could find it anywhere. So
I agree. Mm-hmm. It's like how they say, in the eye of
the storm,
tornado is calm.
It's peace.
Yeah. But you get everything around you, hectic that's going on. Mm-hmm. But in the eye in the middle, that's where it's calm. There's nothing going on. Like they say, the sun is shining through, like everything.
Right. Yeah. You know, good analogy. But we're gonna wrap it up.
We are.
Oh, it's so funny because in my mind I'm thinking, do you need help with the ending? Because we haven't, you know, did the email address in a while and the IG. So, you know, it's not written down anywhere. So bear with him if he, no, I'm just playing. But thank you so much for watching Random Thoughts. We appreciate you giving us the viewership. And
very much so.
I also want to say I am grateful for my change because we do it. I am. Remember?
We do.
Yeah, so I am grateful for the change that I'm going through.
The change you're going through.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. What do I want to say? The first thing that popped in my head was I'm grateful for my family. And the reason why it popped up is because with everything opening back up, I was missing everyone. So I'm getting to see them face to face. Not, you know, we were doing the Zoom. So my family is all over the country. So we were doing the Zoom, and we're close. Like me and all our cousins, we're, you know, really close. So we have these group chats and these Zooms that we was doing. But we used to always find ways to get together every year, whether in this part of the country or this part of the country. Different groups would get together all the time. And, you know, always not everyone, because sometimes somebody has to work or someone is doing something else. But the majority of us would always get together. And since 2019, that just hasn't happened. So now we're starting to pick that back up. So I'm definitely, I am excited. So I could say I am excited and I am enjoying what the current stage of things.
With your family.
Yeah, with family.
Your family.
And then, as always, subscribe to Bravo Speaks. As we always say, it's just the click of a button. There's no cost. It's free. And the gain that you get, the benefit to it, is every time we post a show, you will get a notification instead of you having to look up to see when we've uploaded a show. You just get a notification saying, oh, Bravo Speaks Random Thoughts is posting, and then you can view it if you want to right then and there. So again, that is free. And our media outlets, first you could email us at Bravo Speaks 03 at gmail.com.
That's what I'm talking about. You got this.
And you can find us on Instagram at Brabell.speaks. And then you can also find us on TikTok at just Brabell Speaks, and YouTube at just Brabell Speaks. You can find, and the good thing is you can see a lot of from when we first started to now. So there's definitely a transition within the year from when we first started to where we currently are, which I think is nice. It kind of just shows the history of the show. And don't ever forget, we always like to make it known that Brabell Speaks is the #1 podcast in the Triad.
Yes, we are. #1.
We take on everyone who wants to step up, but they always get knocked down, you know.
Because we have the #1 engineer in the world.
Tell him.
Kurt.
Tell him.
Yes.
Kurt. He's untouchable.
Yeah, I don't know. No, you can't have him. Yeah, you can't have him. He's ours.
But as always, thank you. And we'll see you all again next time.
Peace.
Peace.